Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you ever so much to the sponsors. Without you guys, these videos would not be made. They do take quite a lot of time, quite a lot of effort, and without the sponsors, they simply would not be worth making. So thank you very, very much. Thank you for watching, thank you for commenting, thank you for perhaps even liking. I truly appreciate it. Today, we'll be talking about another thing that just arrived in the SYSTER channel's workshop here. And we'll have a short chat about it. Because, why not? It is a rather neat model in its own way. Hardly a proper scale model, but it has the attraction of folk arts sort of model. In fact, I would go as far as saying perhaps even almost sailor sort of model. It probably was built sometime in the early years of the 20th century. I don't know exactly when. It says Ariadne, New London. I so far have not tracked it down, but the model has been here only for a couple of days, so I haven't had the chance yet to delve and look whether such a vessel ever existed and was registered, but it would be curious. And what vessel is more quintessentially American than the schooner? Somehow we really have taken to schooners. We have taken them as our national type of vessel. In some older scholarship, it was even suggested that the schooner was invented in America. It wasn't. It is, as so many other things, a Dutch invention. And we have depictions of essentially a schooner rig, or at the very least, a cat schooner, as early as the first 2-3 decades of the 17th century, including some vessels that were used for pleasure boats back then. But in American context, we have engravings of New York from the 1720s that are already showing schooners. And as time passes, more and more references in port entries emerge mentioning schooners. It should also be pointed out that, contrary to our popular beliefs, the schooner really did not become the dominant small coastal cargo vessel on the North American coastline until well into the 19th century. At least until the 1830s, 40s, sloops dominate. From there onwards, however, the number of registered schooners significantly begins to outnumber the registered sloops. This vessel is believed to have been a fishing schooner, but truth to tell, I am not fully sold on this. To me, it looks more, if it really is an early 20th century vessel, we know what those schooners look like. There are a few surviving. There is one that is currently undergoing repairs in Mystic Seaport, the LA Dunton, and the dear Lord knows she needed it, since I was beginning to take bets at what stage the stern and the bow will simply fall off that vessel. But the master shipwrights there are about to save her in the nick of time. Returning to the vessel, it has pretty much everything you would expect. It is technically quite accurate as far as having all the things that you would expect, or at least most of them. For example, there are no belaying pin. Well, actually there are. I take this back. Maybe a little bit questionable the disposition of them, but they are there. As far as I can tell, none of the running rigging is going to the belaying pins, but at least they're there. The hoops, I wonder what they are made out of, probably some kind of a wire. But many of the details of these, of the rigging of this vessel are very accurate, very interesting, very true to reality. For example, the hanks on the staysail and the jib, right here, as you can see them, they are exactly the proper and appropriate for this period shape, with the 2 years at the end, with the rounded central part that is running up and down the stays. It's whoever built this one knew what they were doing. And at the same time, look at how the sails are made. In all the corners, wherever they are kringles, they are proper kringles that are properly, well, semi-properly attached to the sail. Obviously, there are no reinforcements, there are no reef points on the sails. I believe that these either are the original or certainly are of significant age, because the client did provide Olia with a photograph in which the sails are visible to be light-colored, white. Well, as you can see here, they are tanned. Why do I not fully buy the fishing schooner? The proportions are wrong. And I may totally be incorrect about this, but certainly these are not the Grand Bank schooners. She looks completely different. There is not much room for boats for fishing, for dories. The two boats that came with her, neither of them is a dory. And in reality, there should be at least half a dozen dories if it was a proper fishing schooner. So my guess, and I'm totally shooting in the darkness because this is far later than my usual period, but shooting in the darkness, I would suggest that this is a coastal cargo vessel and not necessarily a fishing schooner. If you look, it's not visible, but the stern of the vessel has a beautiful tumble home to the transom. And as I said, even the paddles are properly made, although these are somewhat disintegrated. That is true. Old age forgives nobody. And boy, do I know that from personal experience. Returning to the vessel, it is quite clear that there was a previous restoration effort. And the sister channel will have the task of correcting the previous restoration. Removing the damage done by the previous restoration is probably a very good way to put it, and bringing her back to as close to this condition as is humanly possible. Because this actually brings us to an interesting philosophical question. When you get to restore a vessel, how do you restore it? To what state? And this is a question that is near and dear to my heart, not only because I'm a bloody maritime archaeologist, so of course originality, old age, etc. are of prime importance to me, but also because this was a discussion that I had during the day of my first interview for my current job at UConn. I was talking to Professor Steve Jones, one of the most knowledgeable and interesting characters on this coast here, who, before retiring, was teaching English, specifically maritime English literature at the university at our program. But we were discussing museum restoration, not surprisingly a Mystic Seaport restoration of a vessel, which eventually the decision was made to restore her to as-built condition, despite the fact that she sailed with that rig for less than 9 months. It was found to be inconvenient, very far from satisfying. So it was changed to a dandy rig. And the rest of her half-century or so working career, the vessel spent with that rig. So which one do you restore it to? And yes, I'm talking about the MSC Berry, of course, it's obvious. So the question really is, do you restore her to how she was originally built? Or do you restore her to her working life? And all her working life was with a dandy rig. The same question, of course, strangely enough, was never discussed when the restoration of Charles W. Morgan was undertaken. As probably many of you are aware, she was intended and originally built as a forage ship. And she was shortly after that re-rigged as a bark to lower the costs, of course, mostly manpower cost. So which of the two? And it's an interesting question. I'm very glad that it ain't my task to figure out which of the two I want. In the case of this model, of course, obviously, it was the client's intention. And you're acquainted with all his restoration efforts on a number of vessels by now. For Boreas, for example, the brief and the contract was specifying that the vessel has to be improved because the archaeologists among us determined, that say Ole and I determined, that there were at least 3 different people who have worked on that model. The hull was to a very high quality and standard of construction, while the rigging and the sails were, well, I claim the Fifth Amendment on this one. And there it was very clear that somebody just did a very poor job. Therefore, the client wanted the ship to look as historically accurate and as good as all his incredible skill could make the ship. The other 2 smaller vessels that you have seen her restoring, because this has become a major part of what she does, restoration of models, those 2, again, the owners wanted them to be as, because they had sentimental value. Both owners recognized that, financially speaking, from a museum point of view, that there was no value to these models. But they held very strong sentimental value. And for this reason, they needed to be restored to as-built condition, rather than producing a more accurate and to scale model. And the same is true with this one. It was built by a family member of the client, and it has exactly this sentimental value. In fact, the client was very clear about it. He wanted as much of the original material, texture of the vessel to be preserved as is humanly possible. Essentially, he does not want it to be improved, he does not want it to be changed, he does not want stuff to be replaced. He wants it to be repaired while staying true to the original model as his forebearer constructed it at the beginning of the 20th century. And so this will be Ole's task. She have to clean it, reattach things and bits and pieces that have fallen off, and correct this intermediate restoration that no one knows exactly when it happened. Some of them are quite clearly visible. For example, look at these, the sciatic stay, the forestay. All of these are now wire. But if you look at the photograph, they're not wire. They're made out of rope. Then, if you look carefully at the rest of the rigging, in some places, I suppose it's more visible on the other side of the vessel, but some of the lines, for example here, you can see it, are just threads, yarns of some kind. I wouldn't be surprised if they are knitting yarns, to tell you the truth. But in some other places, like for example here, it is proper scale line. Unfortunately, here is a piece of it hanging loose. Was it a backstay? Was it a halyard? Who knows? But unfortunately, in some places, bits and pieces of this yarn are missing. So I will be just as curious as you are to see how exactly Oli will deal with them. Is she going to replace these pieces also? Or is she going to glue a continuation to them? So stay tuned, watch the sister channel when the videos start coming on this one, and you will find out. As far as the rest, the rigging is interesting. The blocks are fairly well done, many of them. Yes, they are dummy blocks, of course. They do not have running sheaves, but they don't look too bad, especially from great distance. Obviously, everything needs proper cleaning and dusting. The rig obviously is totally out of proportion. But this is what will be maintained. This is what will be restored. So this truly will be a restoration and not an improvement. Thank you so much for watching. I truly am grateful to the sponsors of this channel. Thank you for commenting, thank you for liking, and watch the sister channel to see what Ole will produce on this one. And pass the word around that this has become her hallmark. Restoring family heirlooms and models, and it is always an adventure. It is always interesting, and seems to be something that she is beginning to specialize in. It is what happens when you're playing with archaeologists. You sooner or later go into restoration. So with this, thank you so much. Again, I wish you most wonderful rest of the afternoon. And from here, just switch directly to the live stream on the sister channel, where they will be continuing the construction of the Gunboat Philadelphia. Thank you so much. Goodbye.